Hey, what's up? I'm Travis Clark from the band WeTheKings, and you are watching Chagua Music.
Preditah.
It's actually kind of like an embarrassing story. We all wanted girlfriends, so we were like, how on earth can we get girlfriends? And I went to a show, and it was Blink-182, Green Day, and Jimmy Eat World, and I saw all these like beautiful girls like just trying to like crawl at the stage and like loving the bands. I was like, oh my God, that's it. We just have to join a band. We have to start a band. So the next day I called my best friends who are in the band today, and I was like, guys, I know how we can get girlfriends. Let's start a band. And literally the next day we started WeTheKings.
So you went with the whole high school path into music?
I mean, it was really interesting because we all loved music, but it never had occurred to us to start a band. Like, that's just a weird thing to like just want to randomly start doing, you know? So, but we did it, and thankfully it worked out. I think we've always evolved as people and as well as musicians. We have never wanted to release the same record twice. So, you know, people that fall in love with Check Yes Juliet and Secret Valentine, Chagua, and All Again For You, like all the songs from our first album that they really fell in love with. When we released Smile Kid, which was our second album, it wasn't like that, you know, and we wanted to write something different. And the same to say for Sunshine State of Mind, which was our third album with Say You Like Me and on it. Fridays Forever, and then our fourth album, which is our latest, I focused so much on the lyrics because I was at a point in my life where I really wanted to have lyrics that really meant something to people and that really like helped change the world and make it a better place. So I think our first album was really guitar driven. It was like, you know, kind of like guitar hooky. Our second album, I wrote most of the songs on piano, which is a big difference in writing it with a band. Our third album, I wrote everything on an acoustic guitar, and we started the record on acoustic, and we built on top of it so that no matter what happened with the song, it could always be stripped down to just acoustic and a voice, and it would still sound good. And our fourth album was so lyrical based. You know, it didn't matter what the song sounded like to us. We just really wanted to have lyrics that made people think and made people love life and really love being a part of our music and stuff like that. So our records have changed dramatically from the first to the fourth. And they always will. You know, we're always going to grow with the times. We're always going to evolve and kind of acclimate to whatever we're feeling at the time. Yeah, that was one we got off of our record label, so we didn't have any label. We did an Indiegogo campaign and crowdfunded our entire album. We asked for $35,000 and we raised $150,000, so almost like 5 or 6 times what we asked for. And that was crazy. We were able to do anything and everything that we could possibly imagine doing for our album. So the writing process was just kind of like, oh, I just wrote this song called Just Keep Breathing, let's put it out. And the rest of the band was like, okay, cool. Next month later, it was like, hey guys, I have this song called Find You There. You want to record it real quick and put it out? And they were like, okay. Next month after, here, there's a song called Any Other Way. We should write it and put it out. That went on for 4 singles, Art of War being the 4th single. And they were just like, why don't we just kind of get together for a couple months and do a whole album? And that's when we did the Indiegogo thing, wrote and recorded the entire album. But the writing process was just me pretty much sitting in LA, writing a bunch of music that I was in love with. You know, I love writing music, and once I felt like it was right, I took it to the rest of the guys and I was like, let's do this, it's time, you know, and that's kind of how it's always been. That's the writing process of WeTheKings. You know, a lot of times, like, I'll write something that I think is really great, and then 2 weeks later I'll look at it and be like, that's not so great, I want to change it, and I'll change it. But there are times that I've written a song all in one sitting, and I just love everything about it. Just Keep Breathing was that for us. Everything about it seemed perfect. And most times when it does seem perfect, it's like not. So like we sat on it for about a month and a half, and at the end of the month and a half, we listened to it again, and we still didn't want to change anything about it. We're just like, yeah, it's still perfect to us. So that's when we decided to release it. So we do have those times where you just write a song and everything, it just clicks, it fits. A lot of people ask, like, how do you write a song? And it's really difficult to explain that. You know, it's tough to tell somebody how you do what kind of like your God-given talent is. Like, you just kind of say like, I don't know. Like, I must have some sort of talent that allows me to do it, because I wish I could explain it to myself. You know, much less I wish I could explain it to anybody else. So I think songwriting is one of the most wonderful things in the entire world, and it's another thing you can't explain. You can't, but you have those times that are just like, for some unexplainable reason, you just sit down, you write the whole thing, and it's perfect just the way it is. It's hard. I don't have any kids, but I would imagine that this would be like my kids, and it's hard to pick a favorite. But I think, I don't know, I wrote I Feel Alive. This is the one that sticks out to me. I wrote the song I Feel Alive about the very first time I had sex. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember like laying there after it was all over and just thinking. Like I couldn't do anything other than just think. And I was lost inside my own head about how amazing it was, and just how alive I felt, you know, after. And it was just like my sexual awakening. This is gonna sound weird to anybody else, but it's just the truth, you know. And I think that song really, like the essence of it, the lyrics, really says everything that I was feeling at the time. And it's really hard to kind of translate that sometimes with how you feel, to put it on paper. A lot of people can, like, if I were to ask somebody like, how are you feeling? They're just like, I don't know how to say it, you know. But that song to me was really accurate as far as how everything went down and what I was actually feeling. I was able to translate it to the paper. I don't know, we played a lot of really great venues. One of my favorites is the Gorge in George Washington. So it's Washington State, it's just outside of Seattle. The city is actually called George, so it's George Washington, which is really cool. And it's the Gorge, so it's the Gorge and George Washington. And it is like a mini Grand Canyon. So you play, it's 20,000 people that can show up at it. So you play on the edge of this cliff, and beyond it is like this gorge, you know, a Grand Canyon type thing. And it's got a river that flows through it, and people kind of sit up like this, so they see the band that they're coming to see, and then this beautiful, like, just postcard looking thing behind. And it's my favorite venue to play in all of the world.
It's one of those venues you wish you could film a music video at.
Totally, and there have been a lot of videos that have been filmed there. We haven't gotten around to it, but it's so beautiful, such a beautiful venue. It's either our first or our last song, and it's hard to tell, but like our first song is Queen of Hearts. It's a brand new song, and it's kind of like, it's the moment that we walk out on stage and people are like, oh my God, they're here finally. Like, you know, some people have waited years to see us, months, days, whatever, weeks, whatever it's been. And that moment of finally we're out, like almost like to them, oh my gosh, they're real people. You know, like that moment comes where we're not just on somebody's radio, we're not just on somebody's wall, we're not just in somebody's CD player. It's a really cool thing that they get to experience, because we come out and they just see us for the first time in like real life. And it's just the faces of people are really priceless. It's finally like that moment that they've been counting down to is finally here. So I think that's really great. Our last song is Check Yes Juliet. It's the reason we're here today. I think that's an amazing thing as well. So it's tough. It's tough to try to figure out which is better, but I like them both. So I'll say two. On Warped Tour so far, we had July 4th a couple days ago, and we actually spent it in Toronto. So we spent our American holiday in Canada, but it was really fun. You know, we had a lot of bands. We just kind of like, we played soccer and just hung out, watched a little bit of like the World Cup, and it was just a really like relaxing, enjoyable time. And it's funny because Warped Tour is like a band summer camp, but you spend so much time working and busy that you don't really actually get to take it all in. And it was nice to just kind of sit there and have nothing to do. I know that's not like people want to hear like, oh, what's the craziest thing, but like that was it to us. I was just skateboarding. Somebody was playing cornhole. We were drinking, just having a good time. It was really, really like awesome. It's been fun. The U.S. didn't make it into to the tournament. Well, into the quarterfinals, and it would have been like one of the farthest we've ever come, which would have been awesome. But I think if it can make the sport bigger, I love that happens. Like, it's definitely becoming bigger in the States. They just signed Kaká to Orlando City, and he's a huge Brazilian player, and that's something that will definitely help, you know, kind of America to come around and realize how awesome football is. My favorite? I don't know. You know, I think Lionel Messi is just absolutely an amazing player. I got to see Beckham play while he was still doing his thing. I saw Thierry on replay. I love just watching. I love watching free kicks. That's like my big thing. Anytime like somebody takes a free kick that is just like, how did they even come close to getting that in? It's so awesome. So, and those are some of the best free kick, you know, players. So. I'm gonna go for Brazil. I think they have a lot of country support, obviously, with it being there, and I've always liked Brazil. I think the culture there is amazing. I love the Portuguese language. I love the food. I think it's one of my favorite places to go. So I'm gonna, since the U.S. is out, I'm gonna go for Brazil.
I'm just saying the best players out though. Neymar got injured.
I can't believe it. It's sad. Luckily, I don't think it's going to be like one of those career-ending things, but it's sad when you can't take like not even that he's the best player on the team. Like, it's clear he is an all-star, and he's something that helps lift the team. So even if you are the best player or not, you need those people that help lift the team to make you feel confident. So going into the World Cup, it's like the tournament of tournaments. You want to have a full roster. You want to have a full team. With the U.S. men's national team, like, we didn't have Josie Altidore, and that was like, whether he's the best player on our team or not, it doesn't matter. It's just we didn't have full staff, you know, coming to play, and the World Cup should be that, you know. But it goes along with people like committing stupid fouls, and like, it's just, you know, it gets really, really competitive, and people do stupid things. It's just, I don't know, it's tough. But I feel for him. I feel for the country, and I think it might be one of those things that actually lights the fire a little more and inspires them to win it for him, sort of. I think Taking Back Sunday was one of our favorite bands to tour with. They taught us a lot about the road and about everything. They're just really awesome dudes, and I think I can see ourselves in them, and I think they can see themselves in us, and it was just a really good match made in heaven, sort of thing. We also, our friends in like All Time Low and Mayday Parade, they're great bands to tour with. We love them very much, so I don't know, we just love tour in general. I think they would say me, and I would probably say me as well. I like to keep things on tour fun. I think sometimes it can get a little too stressful, and it can feel sometimes like work, and I don't want it to ever feel like work. So yeah, I'm probably the prankster. One of my favorite ones done within, this is recent. We were on tour with Mayday Parade, and we bought a black dildo from a sex store and replaced his wireless microphone with the black dildo. So when he came out on stage, he went to grab it, and instead of a microphone, it was a black dildo, and he was like, oh, like that, and freaked out, and we were all dying laughing. It was maybe one of my better pranks ever. And then we obviously gave him his microphone back, but that was fun. Mine was just to kind of like continue, like, a lot of people say like, oh, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, or I don't want to drink soda or alcohol or eat cheese or like change stuff about that. I actually want to continue doing what I did last year. Like I just want to continue living life to the fullest. I want to continue making music. I want to continue being a great family member. I just got engaged, so I want to continue being a great guy for my fiance. A lot of things I want to continue doing, and not really anything I want to cut out. I think I've used all my other resolutions for cutting stuff out.
Preditah.